Hello my friends and welcome back. Today we will be talking about wireframe objects. Namely, we will be building a house, a two-dimensional house, and I will show you how to create this and how to scale it and translate it, like here. Check this out. There are essentially two different houses on top of each other. I'm going to translate one. And I don't know why it's not doing anything. Okay, so translate on horizontal, translate it on vertical, and then scale it down and up. Or I have a macro that handles both, all three parameters: the scale, the X translation, and the Y translation. Check this out. It's using sinusoidals. Sinusoidals are also called harmonic functions, and you can see the definition here. Go to Google and type sine function, and it shows you the shape. It has an amplitude. The regular sine function has amplitude of 1, goes between -1 and +1, so varies between +1 and -1. Has also period. The period is the distance between two consecutive, actually let's say two tops or two bottoms, and half period is the distance between two consecutive crossovers here in the origin along the x-axis. So this being said, I already built a model here. I'm gonna open a new sheet. So insert a worksheet. So this one, we're gonna take a chart, so insert chart. I like this one. And let's name here the X coordinate and the Y coordinate. Let's also select scaling factor. Center this. A scale factor, an X translation, X translate, a Y translate. So copy this, Control V, and change the X to Y. And let's start building a house. I will use 4 columns. So you go here, select data, and add a series, house, name it house. Here we select from, let's say, 11 to 40. And the Y coordinate is taken from C11 to C40. Okay. And I want to make sure, let me see, format axis. Let's make this from -12 to +12. Why these values? Because I already did this, and I'm kind of choosing something convenient. So -12 +12, and here actually let's choose from -15 to 15. Wait, 15 here, +15, and -15. Something is wrong, but let's see. Maximum, minimum -15 +15 maximum. Major 1, 1. Okay. Also here on this axis, minimum -15 to to plus 15. And 1, 1. Okay. Let's make this chart larger here, like this. We can also click on it and check out the dimension, make sure its size is square. So let's say 7, 7. Okay, and lock here. So now it's square, except it's not quite square because of this word house. So let's just delete this. Now it's square. Also you can play with this, extend it as much as you can. Okay, and I'm gonna fill it with say a yellow, a light yellow. This one. Wait a minute, what is this? This is the border. I don't care about the border. I want the fill right here. Okay, that's good. Is it good? More colors. Okay, so let's start the house with a point. Since I did this before, I'm going to start it at 5. So minus 5. Minus 5 and 5. So minus 5, 5. Then we go to minus 5, 0. 0. And we have the first line. Click on the line. Go here at fill and let's make it thicker, like 3. Yeah. And let's build a line between here on the base, okay, from minus 5 to plus 5. So the y will be 0, 0 for both points, and here minus 5, and here plus 5. Okay, so we drew a plot point from minus 5, 0 to plus 5, 0. Then we are going to draw a line up to 5, let me see, 5, 5. So 5, 5. So we have this. Let's build a door, okay? So the door will start, no, let's build a window first. I'm gonna do, you know, no, go to from minus 4 to minus 1. So window here, so this is the body of the house, let's call it body. Let's call this window. And I'm making a mistake now because I want to deliberately make this mistake so you understand something. Let's start here at window from minus 4 to minus 1. So the x goes from minus 4 to minus 1. Okay. And then the y stays at 2. So 2, 2. Okay, we drew this line. But there's a problem. We don't want that. We don't want this tilted line. So what do we do? Check out. I highlight this and leave an empty space. So now you have a single line drawing all these objects, but the line is broken because we left an empty space. This is a very, very useful property of charting in Excel. So let's continue. Let's go from here up there to minus 1, 4. So minus 1, 4. Then from to minus 4, 4. And then to the first point right here. So minus 4, 2. So we close the window. Let's do another thing. Actually, Let's make this window a little bit bigger. So instead of -1 here, let's put 0, 0. And bring a separator right here in the middle. So I want to make the same mistake, okay, to get how do you say, errors, so you learn something. So let's start from here. So -2 plus 2. We try to build a vertical separator in the middle. So -2 plus 2. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. -2 plus 2. Okay. Let's start here, then we can see it better. So -2 plus 4. Okay, you see that oblique line, I don't like it, but I'm gonna show you. And then go to -2 2. Everything looks good except this oblique line. If we don't want it there, we take the last 2 points, drag them a little bit down. And let's introduce a vertical separator here between -4 and 3. So -4 and 3, and also 0 and 3. Okay, so now we have a vertical separator. Let's build a door from 2. So right here, door. I'm going to repeat the mistake so we learn even more. So we build a door from +2, 0. So 2, 0. Go up to, okay, see that oblique line, we don't want it there. We go to 2, 4, 2, 4. Then we go to 4, 4. And then we go to 4, 0. 0. So in order to get rid of this parasitic line, we just take the door, put it down, bring it down, so there's an empty space here. Let's now build a roof. Let's build a roof right here. Okay. And select data. Okay, let's select the data from the following 2 columns. So add a series. So this is from here to 40. And on Y, we need to delete that first and then select. Let me see. Okay. Okay. And roof. Let's start right here. -7, 4. -7, 4. Then go to +7, 4. Actually, we should go to 5. Okay, so +7, 5. 4 is too low. So here 5 too. Click on this. We go, let me see, 3, okay? Then from this point, now we are here, we go right here, okay? So 3 and 9. So 3 to 9. Then we go to -3 to 9. And let's click on this. Somehow we only thicken one line. Okay, so now we thicken everything right here. Okay, so see, that's what it is. And then let's go back to -7, just this. Copy this, Control C, Control V. So we have the house. We can build a not a haystack, a smokestack or whatever. But this is good enough. So the next step is going to be introduce the translation, two translations, one along the x-axis, one along the y-axis, so horizontal and vertical. And I would say first let's just scale it. So introduce scaling as a parameter, then introduce x translation as a parameter and y translation as a parameter. So for this, let's take all this data and put it here. Everything will be blue now, okay? Turns into blue. And what we will build here, we build a second house that will be scaled, translated in x and translated in y. So let's first put a scale factor of 1 here, x translation of 0, y translation of 0, okay? And let's build some buttons here so that we can change them. I'm going to go to developer, go in design mode, insert, you see this guy here, spin button active X control. Let's draw a horizontal button here, properties, call this scale factor, okay? We're gonna copy this, Control C, and go between I don't know, between 0 to 10, okay? Between 0 to 20. Okay, now we are in design mode, okay? We clicked on this. So when we are in design mode, we can change edit the button. But when we are out, like now, we can use the button. The button is not finished, so let's go back in design mode, double click on it, and it created a, how do you say, a seed of a macro. The first statement, the last statement, in the right syntax. So now scale factor. So in cell, what is this? B3. In B3, so in square parentheses, B3 is equal to, let me see, equal to scale factor, Control V, dot value. Okay, there are other, you see here, it doesn't need to be value, okay? It can be formula, whatever, but in this case we use value. You can use dot formula, there's other things. The default is value, so you don't need to put it. I don't put it, but in order to be rigorous, I'm going to use it now. Value. And when I hit return, you see the V is going to turn into capital, which means it recognizes that this is a dedicated word. So, okay, scale factor value divided by 10. I want to divide it by 10 because it goes between 0 to 20. I want the scale to go in small steps from 0 to 2. Okay, check this out. Go out of design mode, we can use the button, okay? It goes from 0 to 2 in steps of 0.1. Let's keep it at 1. Let's now copy this button, go back in design mode from here, or we can go in design mode also from here, clicking here. But we already are in design mode, so copy and Control V. So this is the X translate. So properties, let's copy this, Control C, and name this button X translate. Go from -10 to 10, and now Control C, copy this button, paste it here, Control V. Being a vertical translation, I like to make it like this. So just changing the shape factor can turn it horizontal or vertical. So properties, instead of spin button 1, Control V, Control V, let's call it Y translate. go from -10 to 10. That's good. Everything is fine and dandy. Double click on this and we have something created. Let's copy this. Actually, no. Let's first insert something. So B5 X translate. So B5 is equal to let's copy this. Control C, Control V, and change this to X. And let's copy the whole macro. Control C, Control V. So here Y translate is equal to B, goes into B7. Okay, 7. Let's see if they work. We need to get out of design mode. This one doesn't work. This one works. No, it does work. It's just slow. I don't know why this new Excel is just slow. So it goes from -10 to +10. Okay. The same here, from -10 to +10. Okay. And now let's write the scaled and translated value of the house, the coordinates of the house in these two columns. So X, Y. Let's call this scaled, translated, scaled and translated. Okay. So how do we scale it? We scale it by multiplying with this value, this scale. So X is equal to the original X times the scale. Okay. But here we need to be careful, because if we copy this down, it's gonna move this reference down. So we need to lock it on this row. In order to lock it on this row, this is called absolute referencing. Otherwise, the default is relative. In order to lock the row, when you copy down, we need to put a $sign in front of the row number, which is 3. Okay, so here in front of 3, we put a $sign. Okay, and also we need to add the X translate factor. So plus this value here. Okay, and again, we need to reference, put the $sign in front of 5, but much easier to hit F4 several times. It scrolls through several absolute referencing options. Okay, so I hit F4 once, F4 twice. That's what I need. Hit return. So now I can copy here and verify if everything is okay. It's not okay, because I tell you why. We need to absolute reference the scale and the translate, both the row and the column. So $sign in front of both. Okay, $sign. Just hit F4 once, twice, 3 times. Okay, and also this one, hit F4 once. Okay, so now we can copy this right here. Let's verify if everything is okay. It's not, because we need to add the Y translate to the Y coordinate and still multiply it with the scale. Okay, so this is it. So now let's copy this down. Okay, looks good, except let me show you. Let's first go to translate 0. We have the identical house, but we need to delete some points right here. Okay, so delete this. Check out the image as I delete this. So delete, let me see, delete. You see all these artifacts are deleted. So we have this, and Check this out. Scaling. I go low to 0.4, 0.3, 0. Nothing is there, okay? Or up. Now is 1, 1.1, all the way to 2. Let's go back to 1. And X translate should translate it to the right. You see, steps. Now is 7. The offset is to the right, 7 units. It goes to 10. Or back. I mean, translate it to the left with negative numbers. Let's put it as 0. Also, Y translate should do the same vertically. Go up 10 units or go down 10 units. Another thing we can do, let's do this. Let's write a macro to automatically change these 3 numbers. So we have some automatic movement and scaling of the house. Similar to what happened with a roller coaster. I mean, people don't understand. I mean, this is simple. This is basic stuff. We have a few parameters. We change them and the house or the roller coaster image moves. It looks like it's moving. It looks like the perspective changes. But essentially you act on a few parameters. So let's do this. Go to the Visual Basic editor and write a macro. Let's call this animate. Okay. Subroutine animate and parentheses. Hit return. The program automatically added end sub. Let's make a button here to run the animation. Insert. Where is that? Shapes. It takes a while. Call this on, off. Okay. Go back to home and center them. Center the text. Increase this by, I don't know, 16. Wait. Highlight it and increase it to 16. Okay. It's good. And assign macro. I'm going to assign the house run. Okay. And in the house run, what do? First, we want this to be an on-off button. If you watched my previous tutorials, you see that we need to declare a variable, a Boolean variable, which is a logic variable. Boolean means logic. It can have value true or false. It comes from the mathematician George Boole, who is one of the pioneers of computation mathematics. So dim, let's call the variable on underscore off as Boolean. Okay, hit return. So this, we declare this logic or Boolean variable right here on top, which means it will have a scope valid on the whole worksheet, on the whole object, and it will have memory. So we can use it to toggle the running or the running and stopping the macro. So in the animate sub, let's say on underscore off. So the Boolean variable is equal to not on underscore off. So this will toggle the on-off variable, which has memory, from true to false and vice versa. Another thing, we need to write a loop, a do loop. So do loop starts with the word do, ends with the word loop. Okay. And in between there's some calculations. Okay. In order to be able to start and stop from the same button, we need to make it do conditional do. Okay, so do only while on off is equal to true. Okay, so make sure you go and watch the other tutorials. It explains in details how this button works, how the spin buttons work, how the on-off button, all this stuff. So inside, let's focus on these three parameters. So B3, okay, B3 is equal to, now I use a sine function. You can go here and read about sine, just type sine function or sin, okay, it's the same. You get all this and read about this. Is what the circle describes. A rotating circle, the radius, the projection of the radius of a rotating circle on a vertical looks like in time, or with respect to the angle of the rotation, okay? But this is used a lot as time varying function. It's very, very important. If not the most, it's one of the most important functions in animation, Excel or non-Excel. This, you're gonna use this like bread and butter every day, many times. Okay, so let's go back, and B3 is equal to, let's say, sine of I, and I'm gonna implicitly define a variable I, an increment, okay, variable is equal to I plus 1. Let me see, plus, it's dark here, I cannot see the keyboard. So I is equal to I plus 1. So B, what was that? B3 is equal to sine of I over 10, let's say, or 20. I kind of know the values. Here you need to try. If you leave it I, is gonna move very fast. Essentially every pi, which is 3.14 units, it goes through a whole cycle. You don't want that. You want to move much slower. But and also another thing you need to use, I explained in the other tutorials, you need to use something called do events. Do events, okay? This means when this loop is run, the program usually doesn't update the screen, doesn't update the chart, and especially in the new Excel, and you need to tell the program to update the chart. I usually put it several times in the new Excel. In the old Excel you don't need to. Control C, Control V, Control V, make sure is doing the do events. It interrupts and updates everything and then continues the loop. So check this out, okay? Stop this. B3, not B3. Oh yeah, B3. I don't know why it's not doing it. B3 is equal to okay. So it's running. The only problem is I don't think we assigned the right macro. Assign macro animate. Is it called, let me see, is it called house run? Animate, it's not called house run. I don't know where we got a house run from. Okay, so animate. Check this out. Assign macro animate. Okay, you see the scaling goes from +1 to -1 fairly slowly. If we want to decrease the speed, okay, here instead of 20 we can put like 50. We need to stop this. 50. Now it's gonna run through the cycle much slower. Okay, whatever, let's stop it from here. And another thing, I want to add translation in the same, using a harmonic sinusoidal function. Sinusoidals are also called harmonics, harmonic functions. So B5, okay, let's copy this, Control C, Control V, Control V. So B3, B5, and B7, and here let's put different numbers like I don't know, 40 and 30, and check this out. Now the house, it only moves it to plus and minus 1 offset, so let's put here 5 times sine, and again 5 times So what we have now, we have 3 buttons that can manually change the scale of the house from 0 to +2, and we also have 2 buttons for horizontal and vertical translation. And another thing, we created a dynamic macro that takes an infinite conditional loop, so do while, and it increments an index I and use it as argument in sinusoidals, in sinus functions, to nicely and gently change the scale, the X translate, the Y translate. I can show you one more thing. Let's disable the scale, okay? So comment it out here with an apostrophe, and instead of B5 is equal to I over, let's put B5 is equal to I over 30. So now they both the same thing. So what you will see, the house, this house will become, let's set it to a scale of small, like 0.2, and the house will move like this on a 45-degree straight segment. See, moving up and down like this. If we go and put a minus here, it should move it like this, okay? See? I'm gonna stop it. If instead of 5 sine we put 5 cosine, okay? A complementary function, complementary harmonic function. It should describe a circle. Check this out. Okay? So these are small things. You need to play with them and get a feel of them. Maybe read a little bit, just not much. Most it's trial and error. Read as little as you can, but you might have to read a little bit. If I put here minus, okay, minus cos, it should rotate the other way, so counterclockwise, okay? I don't know why it's stopping. This is new Excel, is unpredictable. If we want to make it move much faster, check this out. Instead of 30, let's put 3. It should turn very, very fast. Okay? We can even leave it over 2. Over 2. Another thing, if we make the sine double the frequency, let's make the cosine 2 times slower. Instead of 2, make it 4. This should move in an 8, okay? You see? it moves in an 8. But anyway, this is something that we will talk later. It's called lissajou or whatever, the way we combine two sinusoidal function. Even cosine is a sinusoidal, but dephased, so with a phase difference of pi over 2, I think 90 degrees. And this being said, this will be available to download, this demo file. And next time we will continue with 3D. I will explain how, actually no, before of that I will need to show you how to rotate the house. So we will add rotation to the house, we will play a little bit, then we will get deeper into 3-dimensional representation and animation. And this being said, thanks for your attention.